There is generational kind of curse sin as far as alcoholism in my family. I knew a little bit about that in my background as far as some family members, some grandparents that really struggled with it. But growing up in a small town, there's not a lot to do. My junior year, I ended up moving, and we just with that move, I really rebelled, lost some really good friends, and had to make some new friends. Tough time to transition. And so, and backing up as far as the alcohol, I was just around it a lot growing up. I mean, even from like 10, 11, 12, already started it. So it had a pretty strong hold on my life, definitely by the time I was 15, 16 years old. I fell really deeper and darker just through rebellion against the Lord, and the alcohol really took over. But even God, in His faithfulness, there was a coach that had moved there the same year, and he had started Fellowship of Christian Athletes. And so just through that group and starting to go to those, I clearly heard the gospel. Now, it'd be great if I told you I heard the gospel and I responded, but I was pretty content in my lifestyle. It was really just that mindset when you're ingrained of, the good word. You feel like you need to earn your salvation. That's just kind of what's built into us. It can't be a free gift. So while it sounded good, and the whole Jesus thing was like, yeah, but I was like, maybe at some point in my life, but if I die tomorrow, I'm still just going to count on, I've done enough good, which is ironic because if you look at my life, it didn't reflect that, Long story short, I ended up, it was the end of my senior year, there was a situation at a school function. I ended up showing up on Monday morning due to alcohol at this event that I had been drinking. I was kicked out of school and off the track team. And my dad happened to be the track coach, was a little complicated, but Satan just really used that opportunity to pounce on me and kept me really isolated. My mom was home at the time. I didn't really want to go home and confront that. And just over the next really couple of hours, it was, the thought of suicide and death was all consuming. A buddy of mine had been out shooting that weekend, and he had left his gun in my glove box, and I had forgotten about it. Showed up to school on Monday, and only by the grace of God, while I was getting kicked out of school that day, he had come to my vehicle and taken the gun out of my glove box. And fortunately, when I reached into the glove box and it wasn't there, I knew I couldn't go that route. And so that was just truly God just intervening and keeping me alive a little bit longer. So I'd heard the gospel message through FCA, rejected it, but just that hearing it had planted seeds in me that I would know what to do, when that time came. And, the enemy had taken me this far down the path, obviously to destroy and kill me, which is what his MO is. And God patiently had allowed me to go down this path, to get to the end of myself, the end of my rope, where I had nowhere to look but up. It truly was as if an angel, like when Daniel calls out to God and Daniel and Gabriel gets to him, and it took them like 21 days to get there because they were battling each other. So we know there is some type of battle that goes on with these, God's angels and demons. And it was truly as if this demon that was tormenting me was knocked off of me. And the veil that's described in 2 Corinthians 4 was just like, for me, it was a veil I could see just being lifted off of my heart. You know, it says that the God of this age has blinded the minds of the unbelievers, and that's truly what it was like. You know, when the gospel message was being presented, it was as if I was hearing it, but it wasn't penetrating, you know, my heart. I wasn't seeing it with my spiritual eyes. And I can always say, at that instant, when that veil was lifted, not saying I saw Jesus seated at the right hand of the throne, but I could clearly, 100% without a doubt, say he was the Son of God. He lived a perfect life. He died to death for me. And was resurrected on the third day. You know, just from what I had heard at Fellowship of Christian Athletes, I knew what to do. You know, so I just cried out to him, and the peace I had felt before was not peace at all. And now I suddenly had, you know, the peace that surpasses all understanding. My name is Darrel Kotzur, and this is my story.